right, well, it's a crisp winter morning. Not much snow left. There's a little bit down there. So today we're going to work on a project. I'll have to get in the shop here and get things ready to go. So let me sit you down here and we will go get the first project this morning and get in here and explain to you what we're doing with it and what happened. So all right. Well, as you can see, it's not an old car. It's an older car to me. It's so this is my wife's '06 Impala. We've had it for a number of years now, and when we first got it, we got the windows tinted, got the WeatherTech floor mats for it. I replaced the just telling you all this stuff so you have a feeling of what I'm going to say as we get around the car. Replaced the headlights, put a new power steering pump in, put all new struts, bearings on the tires, new brakes, new stainless steel exhaust system. So, you know, I've got a lot of time and some money invested in it. We got it for a great deal from a gentleman at work. And only had 68,000 miles on it when we got it, and I think today it's got 100 and I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, let me get the key on here. I think it's got like 132 miles on it. So yeah, we put a few miles on it. It's been a great car. The engine's been good. It's got the 3.5 liter in it. But here a couple weeks ago, she was going to Lowe's to get some stuff, and she was turning into an aisle, and at the same time somebody was backing out and they crunched the door in. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I mean, it's scratched and caved in a little bit, but we're going to try to see what we can do with that, because the insurance company actually totaled it. We got paid more for the car in cash from the insurance than what we paid for it, for one thing, and we got to keep the car. So, and it's got problems. I mean, of course, the clear coat peels off everything they make today, and it's got one, and it's dirty. It's got one little rust hole there. Well, it's not a hole, it's just, I try to keep that oiled, because I oil all my cars because I keep my junk for so long. But we're gonna see what we can do with this door to get it out. And I had gotten some stuff. I cleaned the cabinet out for my mom. They used to sell Amway. And I got some old chemicals that that's supposed to do all kinds of stuff. And I don't know, you can't see. It just scratched it there and there. I mean, it's got some scratches on it, but we're going to try some old style stuff that says it's supposed to help renew and refresh. So let me grab that stuff and get you set up, and we'll see what we can get out of here. All right, I got most of the dirt and water off of it, and we'll see what this stuff does. It's some old Amway product or whatever. I'm not sure. It may not be even the right stuff in the bottle. I know I just got it from my mom. So it says it cuts through grime, refreshes, redoes I don't know, it's magic stuff. So we'll put some on here and we'll see what happens, how much of this stuff comes out. Yeah, I don't know. It's looking better. Okay, well, that's looking better. I think I've done a pretty good job on that thing. I think it kind of tinted the color a little, but I don't care. It's on an old car. Okay, just kidding. Just kidding. I can't take credit for doing that. One of the fellows I follow on social, on YouTube, Musty One, did that on when his truck got wrecked, and I thought it was funny, so I just had to try to reenact it. So can't take credit for it. Musty One done it. So, but anyway, as you can see, it's not the same vehicle. Like I said before, they totaled the Impala. So we ended up taking the money, adding a little bit to it, and got something. I can't say newer because this is a 06 4Runner. And and the Impala's an 06. So I can't say that we upgraded to a new model year, but we upgraded to a better vehicle. We actually found this one locally, and according to the Carfax, it was in Texas most of its life, and yeah, which is hard to find around here. Sorry about the post, but it's in Texas most of its life, and the underneath looks fabulous. I mean, it is unbelievable. So there's some things. I mean, the Carfax said it had got a minor front end and a moderate rear end, but I looked it over pretty good for structural damage, and I could not see any. Some of it has been repainted, so I mean, you can tell right here that that top black piece has been repainted, but I think they did a pretty good job on it. Repainted. I can take it for what the body looks like underneath, but yeah, I mean, for what we paid for it, I know these things have gotten kind of expensive because everybody likes them and they work. So come with the tow hitch, and just quick show inside. Yeah, it's got 153,000 on it, and there's some things we want to do in here. I see my wife's got her. This is actually going to be my wife's car. The Impala was my wife's car, so this one's going to be hers now. And she already got WeatherTech floor mats for it, and her phone holder, and of course we got to carry our grandkid around, so she's got the car seat in it already. And yeah, it didn't take her long and we got a cover for it because these are leather seats, which we've never had. Which I'm not sure. She doesn't quite like them because she slides around. This seat, it's wear, but 150-some thousand miles. I mean, what can you do? And we're missing one of the buttons here, which I want to get. But yeah, she says they're slick, which they are. They are slick. So that's the one thing she don't like about it. She likes the cloth seats better. So yeah. I think it's going to be a fine truck, really, because I mean, it is a truck basically. It's got a full frame under it. I'll get it up on the lift and we'll get under it. So there's a lot of things I want to do to it. I want to change all the oil, transmission oil. I've got rear end oil for it. I want to change the rear end oil. The brakes look like they're brand new. I can't remember when they said in Carfax when they've been changed, but all four of them looks like they got all new calipers, rotors, and brakes. So that's a good thing. Let's take a look at the motor. It's just, I'm not used to all this new gadgetry. I mean, the 06 Impala wasn't too bad. And this won't be bad either because, and you know, we'll see it when we get under it. Don't laugh. I know most of you are probably saying, oh man, why'd you do that? But it's the V6, and a lot of this is going to be a downfall for some of you, but this is not a four-wheel drive. This is one of their two-wheel drive models, and I'll explain to you why I decided that. And I am an old school guy. I'm 60 years old. I'm used to the motor, a tranny, a drive shaft, and a rear end, and that's what this has. I'm 60 years old. I've lived in Indiana, and my wife's lived in Indiana all our life. And I've always had a four-wheel drive. Big Red out there is a four-wheel drive in case we actually need one. If she needs to be taken to work at the hospital, then I can take her in the Ford. But I had a Blazer one time. I used that one time to really have to get through the snow. And I had a little Toyota, an 84 Toyota that I mean, a handful of time in my 60 years, well, not 60 years driving, but in all my driving years, I really never needed a four-wheel drive. I mean, this thing ain't never going to go off-road. It's going to see probably 90% of its time on dry or wet road. And with, I don't want to put this, the components on it are something that I'm familiar with, you know. But when you get into four-wheel drive, especially the new stuff, fix a four-wheel drive transmission compared to this one is cheaper on the two-wheel drives. You don't have a transfer case. You don't have to service them. You don't have the front drive assembly and axles. And this is a motor, tranny, drive shaft, and a rear end. And so that's why I chose it. Basically, for a mechanical standpoint, I have less to worry about. So that's my opinion. If you lived in Colorado in the mountains or in North Dakota, maybe a different story. But in Indiana, we had one blizzard in my life, 1978. That was the big blizzard. I've had 2 weeks off of school. And that's the biggest snow we've ever had. We've had some times where I've actually, in my old 79 Blazer, went and picked up people at the hospital and took them home after their shifts. That was one time. And other than that, I mean, we can survive. So, yeah, that's my reasoning. So, without further ado, let me get all the stuff that I got for it set out, and then we'll figure out a game plan. We're going to change the oil, the transmission fluid, the rear end fluid, and I got a scanner, so that's going to be interesting. I've never had a scanner to check codes and stuff, so, and it's not a high grade, it's a mid grade. So okay, let me get stuff set out, get stuff arranged so we know what we're doing, and get it in the air, and we'll start. That's about it. About all we can go until I crush my light there. I take my light off, I don't think I can go up another rung anyway, so yeah, it is what it is. All right, let me get a light, and we'll get underneath this thing and take a look at how it is underneath. All right, so we're underneath here. See if I can get some light on it. I mean, everything looks really good. Still got the metal skid plate on it. If you look at the stuff up there, there's a little bit of rust on it, but that's, I mean, for 2006. But the frame, I mean, if you look at the frame here, down across here, I mean, it's just crazy clean. And down along here, got the light laying there so we can see. And then I think it's still the original spare tire. It's still got some knobbies on it. It looks like it did get used a little, but that all looks really good. up there. I mean, original spare. I think it's the rim just like is on the truck. I'm going to get that down and make sure everything's okay with that. But you know, I mean, what do you expect here? I mean, come on. To me, it's great. So yeah. The exhaust system looks really good yet. I don't know if that doesn't look like it's ever been changed because it's still, I mean, it's all welded together here. Frame on this side, you know, up on the body. The rockers look really good. Yeah. Frame rail. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it looks really, really, really good. And it spent most of its life in Texas, so I mean that's why it looks the way it does. And I don't see any place where they, you know, tried to hide anything or, you know, tried to do any Mickey Mouse. I know I spent a lot of time when we took it out for a test drive. Spent a lot of time in the parking lot at Walmart crawling all over this thing. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't find anything, you know. A little paint there coming off, but yeah, come on. I mean, the steering rack, I can't tell if that's been changed or not. It's awful clean, but it's right out there in the open too. I mean, you can get to that steering rack. Oop, I'm blinding you. That steering rack, pretty easy, you know. Wow, that's just crazy. So, there's a little tour of the underneath, which, you know, 4Runners, I guess, had a problem because they do have a tube frame, which that, I mean, it's a full frame. It's a solid frame if it doesn't rust. I've seen a lot of Toyotas have rust problems, you know, especially, I think they say back up in here where they can have a lot of problems where all that salt stuff lays down in here. And, you know, I don't see anything in the bottom except for a hole right there to let the water and rust out. And yeah, I think that's the problem area for these is like right up in there, which this one looks really good. I don't see anything wrong with it. Of course, being in Texas, you know, you're not gonna have that kind of problem. So yeah, there's a quick tour, and I'm gonna get my stuff. We're gonna take the pan off. Thought I had everything here. Had to send my wife because I didn't have the O-ring for the new strainer. So, but I'm gonna try to get this fill plug out up here first. Make sure we can get it out. And I think, if I'm not, I don't know. Just from what I've read, I think this has been serviced before because it's got a gasket. I think originally it was just it was put on with no gasket with some kind of, I'm not sure what you call it. Not RTV, it's something better than that. But this does have a gasket. So, and I think the bolts, I mean, it's clean as a whistle up there. I can't get the light right for you, but yeah. So I think everything's going to come apart. Get this pan drained, but I want to get the fill plug off first, and then we can start draining it. Because if you can't get that off and you got it drained, you're screwed. So let me get my stuff around, and we'll get set up here and start draining it. All right, got you set up there. I'm gonna take this plug out right here. I don't have a open end for that, so I gotta use my long socket. I don't have an open end yet. Wow, that wasn't that tight. Unless I slipped. I don't think I slipped. I don't think I did, but that wasn't that tight. Nope, that's loose. That's good. And I think there's a rubber in there. That's why it's turning hard. Japers. Yeah, it's that O-ring. There's an O-ring in there, and I didn't get a new one of those. Hopefully it'll be fine. All right, well, it's out of there. Yeah, that O-ring was kind of holding it in, so yeah, that's the fill. And now we'll get these bottom ones off. That's the drain, so I'm going to try to get that one loose. Make sure we can get it loose. I'm going to set you up over here so we can see where are we at. That worked for you? Okay, let's get that bottom drain. And what I did here is I asked my buddy to bring a pail home. So we're gonna dump it all in this so we know how much we have to refill. The tranny's not wet. Not sure if it's really full right, but we assume it is. But I want to keep what we take out of it and measure it and put at least that or a little more back in, and then we'll take out that plug there. That's what tells you if it's full or not, and the tranny's got to be up to temp and all. And that's one reason why I got a scan tool, because I can hook it up and then I can tell what the tranny temp is. When it's at a certain temp, then you pull this plug and it's supposed to drain it. What a crock. Just put a freaking dipstick on it. I don't know. This new stuff is just... All right, let's crack that loose. Now let's make sure that we can get this plug loose to check, make sure we got enough in it. I don't want to have something happen and we can't really check it right. So, well, yep, that was loose. Good. So I'm gonna tighten that back up. All right, let's drain this thing. Get my bucket up here. Let's see what we got in it. All right, I'll put that down here and catch everything. And yeah, well, it's dark, but it's got some red to it, so, and we'll see how much we got here in the bucket. Where's quarts? I don't know if this thing has quarts on it or not. Ounces. Well, we can figure it from there. But yeah, it don't look bad. I mean, it's got some age to it. It doesn't really smell that bad either. So I'm blinding you with that light, aren't I? All right, well, we'll let that pee out. We'll see how much we get out of it, and then we can start taking the pan bolts off. All right, well, I think it's about done dripping. I don't know if we got to take this one out anyway. I don't know if there's any trapped up in there or not, but I want to put that back in so it quits dripping. And what did I do with the plug right there? And I don't know. Let me move this one. I don't know if this is gonna drip any or not. Nope. Well, a little, not much. All right. So let me get my socket. Move this out of the way. Get my socket, and we'll take this pan off. Till I get something to pry it off with, which is right here. I don't know. Let's see how easy it comes off of here. Oh yeah, piece of cake. Have one left over. Yeah, I guess it helped if I take them all out, huh? All right. Let me get my stool back here and then come out. All right. Yeah. I wonder why it all didn't drain out when it was draining. Maybe because it was tilted that much forward, huh? Huh, yeah. Well, I don't see a lot of shine in it. Let me get a screwdriver here. And, yeah, don't see anything intimidating. Right there is that's the level. Once the tranny's up to a certain temp, then you take that plug out of the bottom, and I guess you just leave it drain out till it dribbles. Now we're going to pour this into our bucket and see what we got here. Take that off. Right now there's, what is that? It's kind of blinding you, but it's like 2,000 milliliters, or like 67, maybe 67 ounces. We'll pour the rest of this in there. Let's look up here and see what we got up here. Oh, I mean, that looks pretty good. Probably didn't even need to change that, but I'm gonna anyway, so we know where we're at, where we started, and yeah, looks pretty clean. That's good. That's a good thing. I mean, it's a little dirty, but I don't know, some of that could be the transmission oil too. I guess that WS fluid does turn brown pretty quick. So, all right, let me get this dumped into the bucket. All right, well, we got that down. The magnets look pretty dang good, actually. I mean, there's a little bit of metallic stuff there, but not, and you know, it's discolored, but I don't see a lot of, yeah, that's pretty normal. There's 4 magnets in the bottom of this pan. Huh. I mean, that's not bad at all. All right, well, let me get everything wiped off here and cleaned up. That looks cool. We got the rest of that out of there. We got like 3,500 milliliters. So I'll have to figure out what that is in ounces, because it goes from 112 to 128, and it's about halfway between. So we'll see. We'll see how many. I got 4. Actually, I got, I think, 6 quarts, which I don't think we're going to need all that. So, yeah, we won't need that much. But let's look up here again. Yeah, that looks really good. All right, let me get the strainer out and clean the pan up, and we'll get ready to, gotta remember to put the O-ring on the strainer up there, get that bolted back on, and get the pan on. All righty. So I just took some tranny fluid and wiped it on this paper towel. I mean, it's brown, but it looks good. That's a decent color. At least it's not black. And then, you know, these magnets. Yeah, that ain't bad. That's not bad. All right, well, when you pull the strainer off, you want to make sure you're careful when you're pulling the strainer out of that hole, because if you don't, you make a stinking mess on the floor. Yeah, always me. I'm just gonna put this towel down for right now so it doesn't, it's just an old towel, so I'm just gonna put this towel down so I don't step in it and drag it all over. But yeah, so we got a little more in our bucket. Oh well, at least it's tranny oil. It'll kind of dry up. But yeah, when you pull the strainer down, make sure your bucket is up there, because you'll get a lot of oil yet. So anyway, wonderful. All right, well, it's the next day. I got for yesterday, I had a couple errands to do, but I got this all cleaned up and got the magnets clean. 4 of them. Got those bolts that go up in the strainer done. Now I got a question for you all. I can't figure it out. Anywhere that this transmission touched, it turned purple. Isn't that weird? Look at that. Any white cloth that it touches, even this one's got a tint of purple in it. And even on the bucket, the little drips look purple. I kind of looked online. There's really nobody says why that is. Royal purple, I don't think it may be dyed purple, but then it goes back. But yeah, that is, I've never had transmission fluid do that, ever. So if anybody knows why it did that, leave it in the comment, because I have no clue. Anyway, just a little side note. So let me take this, bring this over here, and lay it down here. Yeah, so here's our plethora of stuff that we're going to need. Transmission fluid, engine oil. I got some more Toyota antifreeze, some rear end differential oil for the rear end. This is a cabin filter and an air filter, and there's the strainer, and I got the O-ring, new O-ring. Don't forget to put new O-rings in it. Don't forget to take the old one out where this goes up into the valve body. Don't forget to take that old one out, or you'll try shoving 2 of them in. And new gasket, and then new crush washers for the rear end and the transmission. So shouldn't do without it, but everybody goes, oh, don't, you can't, you get new ones. And that, yeah, I mean, I've used some over and over. So, but on this one, since we're doing everything, I decided to get them. They're a couple bucks, $1 each. So, and I don't know about anybody else, but I'm going to take some of this gasket sealer, and I'm going to put just a little on that ridge, just to hold that gasket in place. And I may take just a little bit on the tranny, just to give it just a little extra sealing, instead of just, pull it up against the bottom of the tranny. So let me move a spot over here, and we'll get going on that. It would probably see all perfect without doing this, but I really don't feel like doing it again. And now let's get our transmission gasket. Where's our little offset? Right there. We'll just lay this on here. Close. Now what I like to do is take a punch like this, something really narrow, and line it all up with the holes. Make sure it's decent. It doesn't look too bad. You don't have to do every one, just something to make sure that everything's in line. All right, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to give just a little bit on top here, and make sure I take actually before I do that, I want to go put the strainer on. I knew there was something I wanted to do before, but that's all right. That can set up like that. Let's make sure everything's lined up, because it'll move, but all right. Let's go put this strainer on. All right. Now, let's grab the strainer. And my 4 bolts here. Let's put this. Well, do you put the seal in there first, or do you put it on the strainer first? I'd drop it into the dirt, what I'm going to do. All right, let's put it back on the strainer first. I don't know which way you're supposed to do it. I think it's going up in there. Let me get a bolt in the back here so it doesn't fall off. Of course, now I don't know what I did with the... And by no means, don't ever take this as a tutorial. I'm winging it, just like I do on most everything else. That's just the way you live and learn, I guess. Okay, well. Okay, it's up in there. Maybe I was too much of an angle, is what the problem was, because now it went up in there pretty good. And I'm not sure of the torque on these things. I really should get a service manual from Toyota for this. I mean, it'd be nice to have a service manual. Again, instead of, I hate looking at stuff online. Spend hours looking online. I got that on super light, so I'm just gonna take this, and yeah, that was too light. And just snug them. I mean, if these actually would fall off, wouldn't go anywhere, just go down in the pan. But okay, I'd say that looks pretty good. All right, let me get the pan now, and we'll get that on. All right, well, I got my stuff on there, just a real thin coating, and the magnets are all in, the strainer's up. I think we're ready to go. And get a couple bolts here that way, and that's makes it nice. It's kind of stuck to the pan too. That way you don't have to mess around trying to figure out where to make the gasket fit. Nope, I guess I've got them all. What do you know? Okay, now I'm going to get my ratchet and an extension and ratchet those down. So, all right, well, I got them all tightened, and I did go ahead, and I usually don't torque them, but I did torque them to about 55 inch pounds. So just to make sure they are all even. I normally don't. I usually just screw them up there by hand. But I figured, you know, we're doing it. Might as well do it right. So let me, I'm going to get the oil and the amount of oil that we need and get that in the bucket so we can pump it in there. Alright, well, see what I mean by it turns purple? Yeah, it's weird. Somebody tell me. Anyway, we got about 4,000 milliliters, 128 ounces. So, gotta pour into this one a little more than that. Because you want, I guess you want a little extra, so when you pump it in, then you get the transmission up to temp, which we're going to figure that out because I've got a scan tool that will tell us the temp of the transmission. All right, let's pour this in this bucket and get what we need in it. 4,000. I don't know what that equates to in quarts. I tell you, what a hassle. It might have had more in it than what it should have too. Don't know. Somebody's changed it. So, all right, let me get the lid on here. And then I'm gonna poke a hole in this lid before, that way I can just snap it on, and then I'd imagine that hose can stick down in there and we can suck it out. So let me get a hole in there. Let me see if I can do this by hand. I just got a step bit. Oh yeah. I guess I better get the yeah, that'll work. Get the pump here out. Let me get you in the tripod. I gotta go find it now. All right. This stuff out of the way. See what we got here. This is just Harbor Freight. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need a bigger. Gonna need a bigger hole. Oh, let's just put a bigger hole in this thing. Maybe I have to go get my other step bit. I want that little plastic bits to go down in the tranny. Don't want that riding around in there forever. That'll work. Yeah, it's perfect. All right, now let's see if we can get this down in that bucket. And get the lid snapped on. Oh, it's cold in here. I can't wait till summer. Okay. Let me get this. Let's see. I'm just gonna want to go in. Oh, right there. In. That will be my out. So that will. Go in the out. No, go in the in. I guess I'm just pushing. All right, let me get all this stuff underneath the car, and then we'll start putting it in. All right. Well, almost forgot to put my new crush washer on. I already did the fill one, or the overfill, or the level one, and now I'm gonna put this one on.
Not used to doing such fancy stuff. Alright, where am I at? I'm just gonna snug those up because otherwise, what do you do? Get another crush washer? All right, now we're gonna go up top here, right there, and see if we can start filling this. This ought to be fun. Yeah. All right. Get my bucket over here. I think I'm gonna have enough length just to leave that sit on the lift. All right, let's see if this thing works. Well, I see it going down over there. Put a little over 4 quarts. So we'll see. Now this thing works pretty good. Uh-oh, I think I got too tight of a seal. Yeah, those are just like, what, a 1 gallon paint mixing bucket. Sorry about the noise. It's so cold in here, I had to turn it on. Paint mixing bucket with graduations. And I'm gonna clean it out. You know, I got 2 of them, one for the old, one for the new, so I don't have to worry about pouring it in and out. And yeah, they work great. So does this thing. This thing works pretty good. Harbor Freight, I think it's $4.99. And I'll clean it out when I'm done. But sometimes, you know, gaskets and stuff in here don't like oil sitting on them forever. I think we're going to be good to start it. And try to figure out that scan tool for the transmission temp. It should be good. I mean, it's just a little over full. I gotta see where my hose is at. Get all that out of there. I'd say that is good enough. All right, well, I guess I better put the plug back in. Whatever I did with it. Right there. I mean, it's got an O-ring, but that's clear up there. It looks really good. I'm just gonna put it back in. Got a little oil on my fingers. You know, put that back up here. Make sure I torque this down good and tight. Of course, everything's harder with one hand. Okay, I gotta put you down. All right, got it in. And I don't think I'm gonna need to take that back off, so I might as well torque that down. Yeah, about right there. And that one I left loose. All right, well, now I guess we get to try that scan tool out and see if I can figure out how to do that and get the temperature. All right, so the one I went with is this Autel MK808S. I just surfed the internet and YouTube. Guys like me who don't need to have everything super duper top of the line. I mean, there's no reason for me to have a $5,000 scan tool. But, yeah, let's unbox this one and see what we got. All right. All I did was take this out of the Amazon package. I haven't even looked at it. Decided to go this way. All right. Well, nice case. I mean, looks pretty good. Charging stuff. Cord, which I'm going to need here right away. I wonder if it needed to be charged. I didn't even think about that. I'll lay that down there. Get the foot. What's that? Oh, cleaner for the lens. And of course it's nothing there. Plug. Which one you plug in first, does it matter? Connect the female, no. Oh, that's... And that goes into the vehicle. Ah, a little warmer in here now. All right, let's go plug it into the vehicle. Plus, I got to start it anyway. All right, well, after about an hour's worth of updates on this thing, it updated and I checked it and I just did it. But you have to work pretty fast. It has to be like 98 to 110. And yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but it's right at 102 right now. Okay, so it's still running. I'm just leaving it run. But yeah, I got it done. I don't know if this is gonna show up. Temperature 105. They say about 98 to 110, I think. I checked it, it just started drizzling out down at the fill hole. So I guess you crack the let me go under there, I'll show you. When it hits a certain temp, you open up this overflow and it runs out and then it just drizzles. When it drizzles, you're pretty much done. So, and it did that. I had to add the rest of that. It took about 5 quarts with the strainer replacement. But yeah, that scan tool is nice. There's no guessing. It's about 105 now. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff this thing can do. There's actually a clear code on it. And so yeah, well, that's a lot more complicated than just dumping the filter off and adding oil on the dipstick until it's right. I tell you, I mean, this wasn't too bad, but to go out and have to buy this, I mean, I guess I wouldn't have. There's a way that you can do it, you know, you can do it without, I'm gonna crawl back up in here, without buying a scan tool. But I just wanted to get one because I got 2 vehicles now, the 06 Impala and this 06, and I can't get an adapter. I think this will read the OBD2 or the OBD1 like in my 97 Ford, and better turn that off. My 97 Ford, and I don't know if my 89 would have any data for it or not, but yeah, cool. So I'm gonna sit here and play with the settings on this and see what else it has. And yeah, so far I'm happy. But man, it had like 58 updates, so that took a while. So the next thing we'll do is we'll probably do an oil change, and then we got to do the rear end. And what else? Pretty much it. Oh, I had a little coolant maybe, but yeah. So I'll bring it back tomorrow when we get in here, and maybe tomorrow after work again, get in here and drain the oil and do them ought to be easy. Them will be super easy to drain the oil and do the filter change, and then do the rear end. None of this horseplay of specific amounts and blah blah blah. So until then, we'll see you. All right, well, I guess it's been a second for you, but it's been about 4 days for me. After that last clip where we were getting ready to be done and I was going to play around with the scanner, that evening, boy, I got the proverbial sick as a dog syndrome. So it's been 4 days for me. And now I got to remember where we're at on this thing. I think we were all done. Let's just roll under here and get a light on it. I'm pretty sure we were. I'm going to roll this out of our way kind of quietly if I can. But I'm pretty sure we tightened up all the bolts, got everything done. We checked the oil up to transmission temperature, and then I think I went up and played with the scanner. So I think that's where they were, and I think right now we are ready to, I'm gonna pull this along with us, do the rear end fluid. So well, they don't look too bad. Yeah, they look pretty good. So I'm gonna set you down here and get my wrench. I think I got most of the stuff down here so I can do it without getting in and out 500 times. Let me see. I got a white container here, then we can see what we got for the fluid. But let's make sure we can get this top one off, because we don't want to be able to, I don't want to drain it and then not be able to get the top one off, or you're kind of screwed. So good Lord, these things are tight. Okay. Holy cow. Let me get, I don't smack my elbow on that thing there. Okay. Jeepers. I don't know if they have to be that tight or not. All right, that one will be good. Now we can take off this bottom one. And hopefully that'll get this out of the way first. Won't be as hard. That wasn't too bad. Let me see if I can get this on here. Get this off and get her drained out. I'll put Mobile One synthetic 75W90. I think it's got the GL, I don't know, some kind of GL rating that Toyota wants in it. Well, looks like gear oil. And I guess these do have a magnet on it. So let me see if I can get this to show in the light. Let's wipe it off once. Yeah, that's not too bad. There's a little go on there, but nothing, no big chunks. That's a good thing. I'll get that cleaned up. And I got my new crush washers down here. We'll let that gurgle out. Let me take this out and it'll come out faster. There. So that looks pretty clean though. That don't look too bad. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good, which makes me happy. It means this thing's been serviced, at least regular. At least that's what the Carfax, the service on it's been pretty regular. So we'll get this rear end done and then we'll get the oil changed. So I'll bring it back when this is done and we'll take you over to the bench and we'll look in the oil. Let's see if we can get it under out of here. All right. Let's get the little plugs here cleaned up a little. Just so they're a little better. That looks better. And we'll go over there and see if it quit peeing. The other thing I was going to do is let's pour it in this bucket, try to figure out just offhand how much there was in there. I should have just drained it into this bucket to begin with, huh? But yeah, you can see. I don't think that's bad for gear oil, if you ask me. And what those are, I think it's just dirt from the plug. The pan was, I made sure it was clean. Am I get that to stay there or not? Probably not. As soon as I do and walk away, I'll fall over. So let's see, what, 96? About 96. Let's get my new crush washers here, and I'm just gonna clean that surface up a little bit. Take my other flashlight and just look at the surface area there where it was sealed up against. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see, I can't remember now how I should have looked at how the other ones were. Damn. Where's the old ones? I don't know if that'll tell us or not. I can't remember now. That's the flat side. I think the flat side went towards the out bolt like that. I'm pretty sure it did. And that's the one with the magnet. Put that in there so it quits dripping everywhere. And I'll get my big ratchet here and we'll tighten that up. Or my big breaker bar. And I don't know what, it's, yeah, torque's probably tight. That's what we're gonna go for, is just tight. Not God tight either, just tight. That's good enough for me. Great, now the fun part. Pumping all this stinking oil back in. That's a messy part too. All right, let me get a bottle ready to go and we'll go. All right, got my new handy dandy Harbor Freight $4.99 pump. Actually worked pretty good to do the transmission, and I'll let it drain all out and we'll see how it does with this. The only thing I see is, man, the first time I used it, it pumped really well. Oh, that's some heavy stuff, yeah. I guess it's working pretty good. I never did figure out how many quart that was. Or pint or whatever, that we made a mess in the other pan, so oh well. I'm sure it's going to take at least 3. That's what it looked like. Now, wait for that to fall over now. Got it wrapped up over that bar and into the rear end so that stays put, and then I'm going to hold the bottle between my legs. Number 3. Okay, well, I turned the heater off and then I used my pocket brain. I should have figured 96 ounces is 3 quarts, according to that. So, y'all are probably smarter than me anyway. That's all I had was 9th grade math. I hated math. Now I wish I would have paid attention more. Because math, you can do a lot if you know math, but oh well. That's what they make your phone for, right? It's good and full now. I just couldn't take it that it wasn't running out. So, but it is now. I'm sure it would have been fine. There was only a little left. Of course, I pumped a lot of air in it too now. But, oh well. I just get, yeah. And plus, I had just a little bit in the bottle. I didn't want to have that just sitting on the shelf in a little bit. So, all right. Let me tighten this up. And now we'll get it tight, and I think we'll call it a night. And I'm sure there's a torque spec on this, but it's tight. Not God tight. Just tight. Okay. Good enough. I think for right now, we're going to call that good enough. Yeah, that was easy. And that pump works pretty good for $4. And so I'm going to clean some of this stuff up. And tomorrow night we'll head up front, drain the oil, change the oil, and be done with this right now. All right, well, it's next night. It's already late. But I got all the outside stuff done already. And let's get this oil dumped out of here, and we can get the plug back in, and we can let this thing down. So I don't have to keep ducking underneath this thing all the time. All right, let's roll this thing forward. Right up in there. I'm not sure what size that's going to be. Maybe 14, something like that. There's a 14 right there. Yep, that's 14. So let me put you down here for a second. Yeah, get you. So you can see something exciting. You know what? I should have got an extension maybe. Nah, this will work. Get this thing done. My wife is jonesing to drive it. Got a new to us vehicle, and it's been sitting in the shop almost since we've had it. Well, not quite. She drove it for, that don't look too bad. Yeah, I know the filter said it had been changed. Pretty recent. But yeah, I don't care. It's a CarQuest filter though, so it actually didn't cheap out on the filter and put a Fram, whoever did it. CarQuest, I don't know if you guys know, it's they're made by Wix. So Napa is Wix, CarQuest is Wix. I think there may be somebody else that made by Wix, but just a different name brand on them. But I've always used Wix, and always going to stay with Wix. And I always used Castrol oil until like Mobile One came around, and I kind of switched over to Castrol. But now on the older stuff, I just put 1540 diesel oil in them, because they still have a lot of the zinc, I think, in the diesel oil for these older cars. I mean, old, like 76 by 72 Monty and stuff like that. So, all right, let's let that drain out. I'll put the cap on, and then we'll get this thing down the ground. All right, well, it's just a drip. I guess the one thing I did forget to get was one of the little brass washers for the drain plug, but I'll keep an eye open. If it leaks, I'm gonna try to get a packet of them for them. But yeah, I think it'll be just fine. Should change them, but you know, I don't have one, so we're not gonna stop for that tonight. That's for sure. All right, tighten that up and we'll let her down. All right, got her back down the ground. Let's pop the hood. And I always hit the always hit the fuel door release. And yeah, let's get a light on the subject here. All right. Well, here's the dipstick. At least they still got a dipstick for the oil. Yeah, where do you fill the oil at? All right, over here. There's the oil filter. So does it say 12, 4 of 23? So yeah, it was just done, which that's okay. I know what's in it now. I have no clue what kind of oil they had in it or anything like that. And now I got to figure out. And I think that's. Let me get my other light. What I do with it right here. I know it's got a drain in the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Right. Yeah, it's gonna wash it out. Right there. Yeah, but I think there's supposed to be a hose on that. So I'm just gonna try to find a little pan down there and stick it down in there to drain out, because I think when you take this loose, it's gonna lose a little oil, so that won't be too big a deal. Anyway, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. It's gonna dribble out. Let's see if I can get this by hand. Good Lord, no. Good old-fashioned strap wrench. You better watch it. It may not work either. Just gotta get it going. Good gravy, man. Put that thing on tight. Let me tell you, there's no reason to have it that tight. Ah, gotta get another bite here. I mean, you don't want them sloppy loose, but you don't need them. Well, if I get the strap going the right way, you don't need them so unbelievably tight you're starting to crush a filter when you're getting them off. Especially one that's sitting right up here, you can see if it starts leaking. So, yeah, well, some people, especially garages or whatever, they put them on there knowing that maybe sometime they probably won't even see them again. What? Unbelievable. So yeah, there's, see how much oil comes out of that actually. None. Guess when it's sitting this long, there would be none, huh? All right, cool. I gotta go find the filter. Just taking a look at that base. That base is dry as a bone. If you look at it, I mean, it's just dry. And then let's go over and look at the filter. I think I'll be able to show you on the filter gasket. There's gonna be some from the, but if you look at that rubber, I mean, you can see some around the edge where it was, but the inner part, you know, like right there, that's just dry. I'm surprised it didn't wrinkle up when they put it on, because, I mean, I put more oil than that on. I mean, when I take my old ones off, they still got some oil, but man, that one's just dry as a bone. So the other thing, just for new guys, well, the old guys are gonna know this for sure, but when you get a new oil filter, you always want to look at them, you know, and they're different numbers. This one, you know, it's basically the same size height wise, and if you look down in them, they both look about the same. The holes are about the same. This is a little different configure, but the biggest thing is when you put the filter seals together, that they match. Because if you get a filter and it's not right, you know, the filter, you know, it could be offset like that, you know, smaller or larger, but so I always just double check. I look at, you know, the insides and around here, make sure it's proportionally the same, and make sure the gasket surface is about the same. But you never know, you get one that's got the wrong thread or something like that, then, you know, these are the same. Just a quick look will help you in the long run. Get a little oil out of the pan, and I always just run my finger around there and make sure there's no contaminants on that. This one's fairly easy to see, but you always want to make sure your O-ring comes off with your old filter, because if you don't, then you try to double seal it and they will leak. So yeah, I don't know if you can see, I'm generously lubing up the O-ring. You know, that looks good. And you can't pre-fill this one. Stick that baby on there. I did do one thing right. So this is how I do it. So there, it's snug. And now I always go about a turn. Yeah. Let me get a rag. Let me see if I can get my hand on it. We only need to get it to about right here. And it's probably good where it's at, because yeah, that's good enough. All right, well, let's put some oil in. I mean, that looked about like at least 5 quarts. I didn't even look in the book to see. All right, let's get the pouring. Now, yeah, let's go this way. I did put the plug in. That'd be my luck. I've done that before. All of a sudden you hear a little trinkle underneath the car, and you look under, it's like, oh my God. Yeah, I've been there, done that. It's been a while, but I've done it. All right, we'll fire it up here and let it run for a minute, and then shut it off and check it. Let's see what we got here. All right, well, I gave it a second here. I guess I didn't bore you with the couple of minutes of sitting there waiting, nothing to do, but let's see where it's at. Oh. Well, it's right, where is it? It's so clear I can't hardly see it. Looks like it's about right there. So I would say that's what? Another half quart maybe? Something like that? Yeah, I don't know. What, a half a quart maybe? Half a quart. I don't know. We'll see. And it looks like, you're probably not going to see it, but can't tell, it's almost too clear. Looks like that's about it. And I'm gonna figure out how to get the air cleaner off now. I'm not sure how you do that, other than it looks pretty simple. These 2 clips, if it's decently clean, I'm not gonna, yeah, it's, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, that's about as brand new as you can get. That's good. Yeah, it doesn't say a name brand on it, but I'd say that's pretty good. And I don't know what this is. This just a spark arrestor, or what is that? What's that piece? Did that come out of there or what? Didn't see that in any of the diagrams, but yeah, I did notice that, get this thing out of the way, that these are numbered. The spark coils are numbered. So they had this out for a reason. I don't know if they changed the head gasket. I mean, it doesn't look... I mean, there's no RTV slopped around anywhere, which is a really good sign, but they had those off for a reason. I'm not quite sure, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to see what this thing's all about. I don't know how often you change that or what. So okay, well, yeah, I don't know. I think I got the right filter for this. It looks different. Yeah, I got the wrong filter. That's what I got. So I wonder why. Huh. Well, that sucks. Well, that ain't right. I'm glad it's got a good filter in it, but I'll have to go back online to the Toyota parts that I got and see what makes the difference here. I don't know. I'll have to go see what I did wrong, but definitely not the right filter, and I'll have to go see what that one is then. Maybe that's why I didn't see that one. All right, let me get that back together, and then we'll try to figure out the cabin filter quick. Never had a car with a cabin filter on it, so. And I think when I looked before, let's see if I can get that to stand up there. Probably not. It's in here. You gotta take it. Is it this? I'm gonna have to look again because I can't. I didn't know that because I didn't know that was there. Little cubby hole up there. I don't think that. I think the glove department box is gonna come out. So yeah, it's too bad it wasn't. You know, they put it back in there. They just take that apart, but not. So let me. Yeah. What is that? Is that missing something? Or looks like that's missing a screw, because it shouldn't just come off like that. I wouldn't think. It's missing a washer or something. I don't know if the other side's the same. Nope. Huh. All right, let me get the book out here. I'm gonna look and see how to get to this cabin air filter. Maybe is it under here? We meant to go through the glove box. I don't. Am I close? I doubt it. All right, I tap out. I just don't want to spend all night out here. So let me get the book out and we'll look quick. That's why it explains that there must be a little washer or something. Over the years they broke that, because you're supposed to take that off to change the cabin filter. And then I think you just push in each side. Ah, jeepers. And that one I cannot. Jeez. Well, that's more than just push in just a little. What's unlatched back there? Oh, that. Okay. So now it should be right back in here. That white piece right there. Okay. And there's some. Yeah, that's pretty good too. I'm just gonna shake it out because there's a little bit of leaves and stuff down in there, but that one I got right. All right, put this back in. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna grab a screwdriver. I think it's just a washer or something missing. Yeah. They had to lose the washer. All right, well, I found a plastic washer. It's not really ideal, but I think it's going to help keep that thing on. I don't think that thing would work off anyway, but if it does, this will help. Keep it from working off. So now it just won't just fall off. So yeah. All right, well, that's really all I got, other than I need to add a little antifreeze, I think, because it should be. I think that's full cold, and it was like that when we got it. So let's see how much of a mess I can do here. Yeah, a little. See if I can keep doing it until it gets to the line. All right, I'd say that's good enough. Yeah, good enough. It's just under the line. All right, well, I think that will do it. The battery's nothing really to do with the battery. Everything looks good. It could use a little cleaning and dielectric on it. I may do that later, but got that back on. There's no oil running out the bottom. The brake fluid looks good. And it looks clean as a whistle, which I know the Carfax said that was done. And the coolant, I think, was flushed, and the power steering was flushed, because I mean they all look good. Power steering fluid, yep. So, all right, well, I don't know if this was interesting or whatever. I mean, I usually don't work on this new of a vehicle. 06, it's the newest vehicle we got, and along with our Impala now, we got two 06s, man. And hopefully we'll keep this one for a long time, because I really like the Toyota. And we just keep it serviced, and this spring when we pull it out, or this spring when I pull the lift out to oil vehicles, I'll show you the rig I made for oiling vehicles. And it's basically a big wand on an air tank full of oil, a mixture of oil, and we stick that wand in every orifice you can find in a vehicle and squirt oil in it. And then I got it's called a ZEP gun. It's basically an undercoating gun, or like I use it for undercoating or bed liner, and it just kind of, it doesn't really spray it out, it kind of globs it out. So we put chainsaw oil in that and just coat the whole bottom, and just until it looks like the Valdez oil spill around here for a few days. But I'm going to do that this spring, and then again in the fall before the winter comes, because I do that on the other vehicles. Should have started a long time ago on old brown truck, but yeah, I just get lazy in life. But I'm not going to let that happen to this one. And my dad's old truck, the red one, I started doing that as soon as I got it, because that's pretty rust free, except for the flaking of the undercoating, which I got back to being supple now again, instead of this hard chip stuff that falls off and collects salt water. So maybe when we pull these out for the spring, or pull my lift out for the spring and we start undercoating, I'll kind of go through that, because if you keep cars like I do, you keep them for a long time, it is well worth it, because it will stop rust, and it will make a watertight barrier in where all your spot welds are. Like if we spray it in the door here, we'll actually this one I'll have to drill some body holes, and we'll put some body plugs in, so I can stick my wand in there, and you go clear across the door, and then you spray we don't go clear to the top, but we spray up, and it all runs down, and then usually comes out the weep holes, and like all the rockers, I'll get into the rockers somehow on this. And like in here, like the older stuff has, body plugs, and I'll drill body plugs in here so I can get to this stuff. and spray this full. So all this inside here gets oil. That's where your rust starts. You know, places like up in here. And we'll drill a body plug somewhere here, and just so we can fill this whole thing with, you know, you just run it down there. I'm not sure how we're going to do this one. Is that a double wall or a single wall? That's just I can't tell. Yeah, it's double wall until down. I'm pretty sure it's a thin double. Yeah. So yeah, you know, you get water or salt water up in here, or somehow it gets in there, then it sits, and that's where you get rust. Same way with this door. We'll figure out either go in up here, or we'll drill body plugs wherever we got to get oil into these places that, you know, don't see oil but can get water. You know, you'd think you'd running down the highway at 60 miles an hour for hours, and it's wintertime, and all that salt spray and water is going everywhere that you can't think about. And so we hose it with oil, and it works. So, all right. Well, with that, thank you for watching. I know it's been a long time. It's been probably 2 months since I made a video, and I thought, man, I'll just do a video on this just to have something on the channel. Hopefully next time it's going to be something from outside. Either pull the Mercury back in. I've been jonesing to get back on the Mercury, or pull the mystery car underneath the tarp in here, because I know that will not hit the road. I just want to see how bad it's hurt from the situation it was under, and I think that'll be a fun one just to see if we can actually. It may run, but it's not mine. But I picked it up for a friend of mine that's had it stored since like 80. I forget what the plate was, but maybe we'll drag that one in and just kind of have fun with that one. So one more thing I forgot to do when I was changing oil is always put your date when you change your oil on your filter. But the biggest thing that I did, I always write down on the flap of the oil filter. So you always get the oil filter number, and I always put on the filter kind of a real brief summary of what I did. Also, the biggest thing that I do, as the biggest help for me, is I take a piece of blue painter's tape and I write down the number of when it needs to be changed again. This one always in the cab, in the top left corner of the windshield. Everybody knows that if the odometer says that, it's time for an oil change. And that's kind of what I really base my things on, other than I take all this information and I'll make a more complete log in my computer. Like, they will all have this in the glove box. No matter what they are, I always have that stuffed in the glove box or the ashtray or somewhere where somebody can always find it. But that doesn't mean it's always going to stay there. And I usually get a bank. It's a change zipper pouch. You just go to your local bank and ask for them. They're just a pouch with a zipper. I put our registration and our insurance card. I always slip this in there. And then the next time I do it, I take this one out, put the other one in, and I always make sure I got this information logged into the computer before I chuck it. That's the way I do it, and it's worked good for 40 years. And of course, I always haven't had a computer. Had to do it manually, log it in by hand in a 3-ring binder. But you know, technology. So okay, with that, I'll let you go. See you. Bye.